Hello gamers, it's Newf Nukem and I'm here with a new video. This time it's a reintroduction to my channel. I realized just recently that I never really did a formal introduction. So first off, let me thank each and every one of you who have been supporters of mine for quite some time now, whether that be on social media like Twitter or throughout the gaming channels like Xbox Live, PlayStation Network, or throughout the podcast chats. I can't thank you enough for your kind words and all your support over the last little while. It means the world to me, and that's why I've decided to restart this channel, so to speak, refocus, and hopefully bring you more content over the next little while. Some engaging content, but content as well that is just, for shits and giggles, so to speak. So first off, let's start with my name, Newf Nukem. Where does it come from? Well, Newf is short for Newfoundlander. I am from Newfoundland and Labrador, Canada, so that explains the Newf part. The Nukem, well, kind of self-explanatory. The name just kind of had a ring to it. I liked it. It kind of stuck. But, my I guess personality is a little atomic at times, a little explosive. I can be off the wall. Sometimes I can be damn right hilarious. Sometimes I can be a little offensive. And sometimes my jokes just don't fly, or they at least fly completely out the window. Hit and miss, as they might say. So some of my friends in the community have effectively nicknamed me No Chills Newf Nukem because essentially sometimes, whether it's a podcast or playing a game, I have no chill. Whatever goes through my brain sometimes tends to come out my mouth. It's kind of like a fart you can't control. But anyway, that is my name in a nutshell. Now, how did I get into podcasting? Why am I even interested in doing something like this? Well, first off, let me just say I'm a huge video gamer, and I've been gaming since I was knee-high to a grasshopper. I started it with the Atari 2600. I had the Sega Genesis. I had the Sega Master System, the Game Boy, the NES, the Super Nintendo, PlayStation 2, Sega Saturn, Xbox, the list goes on. I've virtually owned just about everything, and I've had a collection of games for a bunch of those consoles. As you can see in front of me right now, these are the three I currently play games on, and they're all fantastic systems. I do prefer the Xbox. I'll get that right out of the way. But at the same time, I love all three. They offer some great gaming experiences, and if you can afford to have all three in your home, by all means do so. You won't regret it because there's so many great games out there to play right now. So game on, man. That's all I can say. Game on. Fire that stuff up and get to it. There's a lot to play out there. But I've been gaming a very, very long time, and a lot of the friends I grew up with, they're not big game fans. I mean, they may have a console, but they watch a few movies on it. They buy a game here and there. They're not passionate about this hobby, about this industry, but I'm extremely passionate about it. I've been at it a long time, invested a lot of years, a lot of money, in a lot of time. Like, I'm invested in this hobby that I really enjoy and love, as many of you do as well. So I kind of stumbled across a podcast called Big Gamer Small Talk one particular evening, and that's where I learned there are other people out there who love gaming as much or more than I do. They're very vocal, very passionate about the gaming industry, and they like to chat about what's new, the new games out, things that are industry trends, so on and so forth. But anyway, that was the podcast that really kind of got me started, got me thinking about doing this myself. And eventually, I teamed up with Mooch, who's a very popular community member through a podcast, and he invited me to Crossfire one night. And from Crossfire, well, the feedback was good, and from there it was a trickle-down effect where I got invited to a few other podcasts, and in turn the feedback was also very good. Eventually, through a community vote, I ended up on the Console Corner podcast, which you can find on Tuesday evenings, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so before I go any further, I got to give them a big shout out because they are my extended gaming family. Not only are they great podcasters, so big shout out to GKB, She-Wolf, Lady Foxfire, Magic Mike, and also have to shout out to Brutal Knight as well, who was on that podcast when I started. We miss him dearly, but due to family obligations, he is no longer on the podcast, but we certainly hope that he comes back from time to time, maybe, and does a guest spot. So big shout out to the Console Corner crew who took me in, as you could say, and it's been, I think, a success ever since. And big thanks to the community members who voted for me to be on that podcast. It was an interesting process that took a little while, but at the end of the day, I hope they did and still feel like they made the right choice overall by having me as a regular member on that podcast. But like I said, Crossfire is kind of where I got started. BGST was kind of what lit the fire underneath me to kind of do this stuff on my own. And with that, I started following people like Crap Gamer, Mooch, Next Gen 420, Tim Dog. The list kind of goes on, and and there's some great podcasts out there. So many people that have inspired me, and I do want to give a shout out to a lot of the podcasts that not only inspired me, but ones I continue to watch today. So I want to give a shout out to obviously the Console Corner, Xbox Nation, Crossfire Podcast, MNC Mornings, BGST, Beastfire Podcast, Quest Podcast, Down Under Gaming with the Doug Podcast, the Next Podcast, Speak Podcast, Coffee, Casuals, and Consoles, and TXR Podcast. And that's just to name a few. There's so many, I can't even keep up with them anymore, but these are some of my personal favorites. Many of their podcast members are people that I chat with on a regular basis. Some of these podcasts have actually been a guest host on as well. I've enjoyed every single minute of it. So, again, big shout out to all of them and to all the podcasters, as a matter of fact, who no matter what platform you like or what podcast it is that you do, the fact that you put so many hours into to bringing content to gamers, and sometimes some truth. Yeah, there's some BS out there as well, but we won't even get into that. So again, I want to thank each and every one of you for inspiring me to do what I do, and hopefully you all have continued success as well. There's so many people, like I said, I want to thank, but I'll never get through the entire list, but you guys know who you are. If you speak with me on a regular basis and interact with me all the time, I want to say thank you to each and every one of you. I'd be here about 2 hours long if I had to name you all out. So basically my objective now with this particular podcast is to bring you some news about the gaming industry, weigh in with my 2 cents worth, so to speak. I'll talk about some of the games that I'm playing or stuff that I might intend to play over the next little while. We can talk about services like Xbox Live and a bunch of the apps that are coming out to all of the consoles. Chat about a variety of different things. And I also hope to do that with a little flair, a little comedy mixed in as well. I'll probably bring you some of the characters I've been getting a lot of comments and fan feedback from, and that is with Arnold and Cletus. I hope to do a few separate podcasts with them. I also would like to do a series of one-on-ones where I bring in community members from the podcast community and have, kind of do a sit down with them, so to speak, and do some one-on-ones to, find out what makes them tick, find out why they like doing what they do, much like I'm doing here right now. And I think it would be a lot of fun, and we could have a ton of fun with that. So that is my hope over the next while, is to just bring you guys more content. I've had people requesting and saying, Newf, you need to do more videos, or we want to see more of this and more of that. And I said, you know what, I'm going to try my best. Now, I don't have any fancy setups, guys. I apologize for that. Basically how I roll, I'm doing this on Xbox Live's Upload Studio, which does get the job done for the most part, and I'll continue to do that until maybe, one of these days I'll invest in some different equipment. But right now, this is the way I'm going to roll, and I'm hoping to bring you some more content as soon as I can, and most importantly, more on a regular basis. So I've had a lot of gaps in between videos, and I'd like to bring you more up-to-date content. That is my goal over the next little while. But I do have a few irons in the fire for a few other things with my personal life, so my time commitments could be a little constrained over the next while. But again, topic for another day. Anyway, big shout out and a thanks to all of the fantastic gamers out there, everybody in the podcast community. Thank you so much again for your support. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and most importantly, leave some comments. Feel free to, add me on Xbox Live or PlayStation Network or over on Twitter at Newf Nukem, and let me know the sort of things that you would think you would like to see, and I will do my best to try to bring you that sort of content. So again, I thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you on another podcast soon. So again, you're watching Newf Nukem's channel, the reintroduction. Take care, and remember, keep on gaming.